We call to order the State of Nevada Board of State Prison Commissioners for today's date being Friday, June 26, 2026 at 1:01 p.m. And we'll kick it off with roll call.
Governor Joe Lombardo,
Here.
Attorney General Aaron Ford,
Here.
Secretary of State Francisco Aguilar.
All right, mic's on.
Yeah, you might. He's not here. He didn't join yet.
Oh, he didn't join yet. So I thought he was on.
Do you have a quorum unless you want to wait for him?
Okay. All right. Affirming we have a quorum.
Yes, sir. You have a quorum.
All right, we'll move to the first opportunity for public comment. No vote or action may be taken upon a matter raised under this item or of the agenda unless the matter is specifically posted on the agenda as an item upon which action may be taken. Do we have any public comment there in Carson City?
Yes, Governor, we do.
Please come forward, identify yourself.
Oh, I just push that to talk.
Push it to turn off. It's on right now. So.
Oh.
Whenever you need it.
Okay. Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Pat Lowe. I'm commenting on the fact of the hearing about the mail system with the inmates. And you want to take that away from them receiving mail. And as a mother, I'm very much against that. I would not be able to receive cards or letters from my son, and I would not be able to do anything with sending them. Okay. One, I think that this is a very bad idea because of the fact that it could increase, hopefully not, like suicides, because some of these inmates would not be able to receive letters or things that their children have made for them, that type of thing. And once again, as a mother and a grandmother, I think that that's very important for these gentlemen to be able to do this because it gives them more hope and it gives them more dignity. And you're taking that away from them. I know that they suffer a lot and over a lot of different things, but us, the fact that you want to take this mail and have it sent to a different company and photographed and sent to their tablets and then destroyed possibly, that's wrong to me as an individual as well. I think that the prison does a good job, as it does, with the mailroom. They check all that. They go through the inmates' mail to make sure that it's acceptable for them to receive. And I think that that job should remain as it is. And I don't know if we're going to be able to publicly go somewhere and vote on this exhibit, but I think it's very, very bad. Once again, and I think that it would be a bad situation for a lot of impact on the prisoners as it is. But thank you very much for letting me speak, and hopefully I've made my point. Thank you.
Secretary Aguilar, are you on the line?
We have one more, Governor, here in Carson City.
Okay, have them stand by a second. Cisco, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here, Governor.
Okay, we just want to confirm your presence so we can add you to the list.
Thank you.
We're on, just for your clarification, we're on the first opportunity for public comment.
Am I allowed to proceed?
Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Governor, everyone there. My name is William J. Connors. I'm a felon. My husband is in Ely State Prison. And I really feel, first, the emotional connection I have with my husband when I write him letters or I send him cards or I send him a picture. It really means a great deal to him. The emotional connection is not only the written word, it is the way he smells the paper, something that I wrote him directly, and when he writes me things too. This emotional connection, if you digitize it, you're going to destroy that connection between me and him. I'm not only speaking for myself, I'm speaking for many other inmates in there that have no one. They get pen pals and stuff like that. That means a great deal to them. I know they're in prison for something they did wrong, yes, of course, and they're serving their time. But these letters, these cards, these things are more psychological and more meaningful to them. And they mean a great deal to us. And we put our hearts and souls into it when we write them, or we send them pictures. I mean, if you digitize a picture, it's probably going to come out black and white. Maybe not, maybe it comes out in color. But it loses the whole idea. The idea of the cards and the letters. Those things are really emotional pieces of paper. Now, since I got out of prison, I became a published poet. And that means everything. The word on the paper is essential for them to understand. They read those words, but they feel the emotional connection that we're putting on that page. If you eliminate that, if you digitize it, if you put it on their tablets, they're not going to get that. They're not going to be able to go back. Yes, they'll be able to go back and read it, but they will not get that emotional connection. I really believe that is a terrible thing for you to do, especially to these guys in there. They may have a great deal of time to do. They need that emotional connection. I heard you passed a law a little while back so I could go to see my husband, of course, when I sent all my information, and they denied me, but that's another matter. The whole idea I'm saying here is that emotional connection that we have with the inmates in there, they're our family. And we really I feel that you're making me the scapegoat for something. Did I do something wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. And by taking that right away from us, that's just not right. It's really wrong thinking. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Governor, there's nobody else for public comment in Carson City.
Thank you. All right, do we have anybody here in Las Vegas for public comment? Yes, ma'am, come forward.
Like,
Right.
yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Patricia Adkisson, Adkisson. I'm going to keep my comments short today, but first I want to take time to acknowledge Danielle Madsen for her tremendous efforts, her skill, and her dedication in service of public interest. Thank you, Danielle. I don't know what I'd do without her. For the record, you guys probably don't either. For the record, I hereby object to the board's ceremonial approval of regulations for the purpose of adoption. This board has never been exempt from the Administrative Procedures Act. Regulations are not adopted by this board's mere ceremonial approval. The appropriate legislative agency must be provided all materials that are developed in the proposed regulations, and that legislative agency must approve the language. Once that submission and approval is satisfied, adoption becomes possible, and once legally adopted, the original and 2 copies of all regulations must be filed with the Secretary of State. Only then is the regulation codified in the Nevada Administrative Code and then promulgated to the public. Unless and until codified and promulgated, no regulation is adopted, and consequently, no such regulation has the force and effect of law. It would exist as merely a voidable policy. A review of the Nevada Administrative Code, Chapter 209, and my inquiry to the Secretary of State reveals that no prison regulation has ever been codified or actually promulgated in the Nevada Administrative Code. This meeting and the previous workshops appear to be at best a sham workaround of the legal requirements for the adoption of regulations. Thank you for your time.
Howdy, folks. Good afternoon. My name is Mark Betancourt. I am with the Nevada Coalition Against the Death Penalty. I'm the executive director. But today I'm really speaking to you all as the son of 2 formerly incarcerated parents and as the nephew of an uncle who was murdered. I understand both sides of this. However, I want to start by saying that I appreciate the concern about the well-being and the safety of the residents within NDOC. However, removing physical mail is also removing a lifeline for families and for incarcerated people. A birthday card, a drawing from a son or daughter, simply feeling the indents on the paper, on the page from your loved one can make a difference. And it makes a huge difference with the well-beings of individuals and residents within our correctional facilities. While I primarily serve folks who are never going to see outside of a prison, the reality is most of the folks within our correctional facilities are going to be back in our society. They're going to be at the gas station with you. They're going to be enjoying a Golden Knights game, hoping that they win the Stanley Cup next time. And they're going to be at our gas stations getting gassed right next to us. And so if we want people to be healthy, happy, and whole when they come back into our society and share it with us, we need to make sure that we do not remove physical mail. This severs a connection to healing for individuals and provides a net positive impact. I know that our goal ultimately is to rehabilitate folks, to make sure that they can succeed and excel when they are coming back into society, and removing this creates an additional barrier to that. I'll leave you with that today. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Cindy Dickey. My son is 24 and he is going to be in Lovelock Correctional Center for the rest of my life, let alone the lives of most of his family. And I just wrote a little thing because I figured the emotion would probably take over during this conversation. A digital scan cannot be tucked under a pillow. It does not carry the scent of home, and it cannot be held during the long, quiet hours of difficult night. I am before you not just as a mother, but as a stakeholder in the future of the Nevada prison system. For my son and for thousands like him, a physical letter is a difference between surviving and the mere existence. Physical letter is not just a piece of paper. It is the physical proof that he still belongs to the world. You are currently holding the power to decide if we keep that vital bridge standing. Maintaining physical mail is an operational choice that actually makes the facility safer for both the staff and the incarcerated population. When inmates feel connected to their families, the prison environment is calmer. By keeping mail, you're choosing to prioritize a more stable, manageable, and humane facility. Even though we're here to discuss the logistics of the prison system, we must acknowledge what is actually at stake does not have a monetary price tag. It is the cost of the mental stability of the individuals that are in your care. Rehabilitation cannot take root in a mind that is starving for human connection. Isolation and environmental stressors are primary catalysts for behavioral health crises and the suicides that happen frequently behind bars. While consistent, tangible family contact acts as a critical psychological anchor, the digital message on a shared tablet is ephemeral. It can be turned off, it can be deleted, it can disappear forever by a glitch or by a person. But a handwritten letter is a permanent bridge. It's a sensory anchor, something they can hold and they can keep. When a man has a collection of physical letters to read, he has a history to hold on to and a reason to remain stable. By moving toward digital-only systems, you are removing the very things that remind these men of their humanity. You're managing human beings who require physical connections to keep their minds intact over weeks, months, years, or, like my son, decades. Primary driving argument for eliminating the physical mail is safety. Drug reduction, it makes sense. However, comprehensive policy analysis by the Prison Policy Initiative proved that mail scanning has been spectacularly ineffective at stopping contraband. A year after New Mexico banned physical mail, the state reported the policy had no effect on drug use, and positive random drug tests actually doubled. In Missouri, after implementing mail scanning, the average monthly overdoses rose from 34 to 39. In Pennsylvania, 5 years into mail scanning policies, positive random drug tests nearly tripled. Even the Illinois Department of Corrections was forced to admit to oversight bodies that they lacked empirical evidence to show mail scanning stops the flow of drugs. The data proves that cutting off letters does not kill the demand for contraband. It simply drives up the black market prices, deepens isolation, and increases internal violence. Thank you. Can I, one more sentence?
Sure.
Thank you. Decisions made from this room today will echo for years. Please keep the physical mail, keep the connection, and keep humanity within the prison system for my son's sake and for the sake of the loved ones. Thank you.
Any other individuals here in Las Vegas? All right, anybody on phone or online? So. All right, we'll close the first opportunity for public comment. We'll move on to agenda item number 3. So I have an understanding on agenda item number 3, we've received a significant amount of response in short order, right?
Yes,
So we haven't had the ability to evaluate that, right?
correct.
And additionally, LCB has not returned the draft language
That's correct.
associated with this issue. Okay, so I'll make a decision to remove this item so that we can ensure that we have sufficient review and place it on the agenda for the next Board of Prison Commissioners. Any member issues with that?
None here.
Cisco, is that a yes or a no?
I'm good with that. Thank you.
All right. So you're probably asking, well, why did you have public comment? Because that's more information we can receive, reference this item that we probably wouldn't have received if we had you not talk about that particular issue. So, all right, with that being said, we'll move on to agenda item number 4, acceptance and approval of the minutes from March 20th, 2026 meeting for possible actions. Do we have any member corrections or director?
Yes, this is Director Zarenda, Department of Corrections. On page 2 of the minutes, the March 2026 meeting minutes, section 3, there was a typo at the date that said March 26, 2025. It should read June 13, 2025. And also in section 5, under the third sentence, it should read 8 deaths have been labeled as homicides, which was a mislabel of the minutes. That's it.
Did you receive that?
Yes, sir.
All right, with that correction in place, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Move to approve as amended.
All right, we have a motion for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We move on to agenda item number 5, director's comments and departments updates.
Sure. The first thing I thought was important to let everyone know is that the Casa Grande Transitional Center has finally been completed after many years of refurbishment from mold and mildew, and it has both housing units or both sections of the facility have been completed with construction, and within the next week or two, the state should be regaining access to the entire facility, which will be able to open up 200 additional minimum security bed housing units. Both are going to be mixed with women and men, most likely 100 and 100 split up. The other thing I thought was important is the community transitional programming, a new law that just came out that allowed corrections to do early releases of offenders that are within 18 to 20 months of release, that they can actually be released earlier. This was under AB 4 in the special session. That program is going to be beginning in the next 30 days. We had a lot of requests from offenders that are potential candidates that are eligible. It's going to, as long as they have some residence that is approved that they can actually go to in the state of Nevada and have a plan They will be in certain charges of nonviolent charges and non-sex offenses. They will be approved to go out early under home supervision, which is due to begin within the next 30 days. The other thing I have is I know it's been coming up quite frequently from a lot of people in the press. It's the High Desert State Prison heat, the swamp cooler issues that we have there. There is a capital improvement project that is underway that has been approved to replace all the current swamp coolers in every housing unit. I believe it was a $68 million capital improvement project that was approved. That is in the designing phases right now and still will take about 18 more months before we actually see them start being replaced. In the meantime, we ordered multiple additional portable swamp coolers that go into every housing unit, which will keep the temperatures down if the regular swamp coolers are not keeping the temperatures at the right time, right temperature below 85. So I'm pretty convinced and feel good that those new portable swamp coolers that are coming in will be okay for those housing units, but we'll reassess after they come in. But every housing unit will have an additional industrial portable swamp coolers to keep the units in the cells of cooler temperatures for the hotter weather in the summer. But that's all I got. I'm not sure if any of the board has any questions on either of those topics.
So you're gonna have an individual unit in a cell?
No, I'll go back a little bit. So we did order 100 individual swamp coolers that go into the cells that are just for those that are in mental health housing units because of some of the medications rise the temperature of the body. But every housing unit will have an industrial portable swamp cooler, at least one, in every housing unit to keep the units temperatures down.
So those individual ones don't create a safety issue?
No, they're actually no different than the fans that we have. They can purchase in commissary right now.
Any member questions of the director?
None here.
All right, we will close agenda item number 5. Move on to agenda item number 6, medical division update. Dr. Kenneth Williams.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Governor Lombardo, members of the board. The Pyxis is a medication management system, especially useful for decreasing diversion of controlled substances. The medication cabinets are digitally connected to the NDOC central pharmacy, which monitors access to and the inventory levels. The access to the medication cabinets is regulated by a unique access code that is distributed to each staff member that is authorized to access the medications. And we're happy to report that at this time, Pyxis is now deployed and fully implemented in all the NDOC facilities. This is important because this will facilitate decreasing medication diversion for narcotics. Okay. Our on-med care stations are now deployed and functional at High Desert, Northern Nevada Correctional Center, and Lovelock Correctional Center. We've had a challenge gaining access for SIPS, which is the pharmacy software, but we are pleased to report that Fusion, which is the vendor, and OnMed have signed a licensing contract that provides access to the OnMed providers, so now they can directly enter their orders. We are back to at least one medical provider at each facility. That does leave us with a significant challenge. However, we're continuing to recruit for Northern Nevada, Lovelock, High Desert, and Florence. But we do have at least one in place at each facility.
What is this SOP? 2?
At most of the facilities, at least 2. Places with higher acuity like Northern Nevada, there's supposed to be at least 4. But we're working to go beyond the previous staffing of the at least 2 because even that was not sufficient.
So how are you supplementing?
So the places with the greatest need, which were High Desert, Northern Nevada, and Lovelock, that's where the on-med care systems are in place. That gives us some infrastructure that hopefully will remain in place so that we never fall behind again. Okay.
Are you measuring, Director Zorinda, are you measuring the transportation associated with bed?
Yes and no. These are cases that are not emergency room cases. They're long-term care cases that could potentially not result in emergency care. So it's kind of difficult to say whether or not the on-med prevented it, even though we do. We can't get numbers from that because we don't know yet if that person ever has to go to an emergency. So we do believe that, and the doctor can explain it, we do believe that providing that necessary on continued treatment before it gets to a problem will prevent these hospital trips and regular doctor office visits.
We will be tracking the regular care consultation visits that are made, as well as the emergent care transportations, so that we'll be able to report any increases, decreases, or whatever differences may occur. Thank you. The Division of Public and Behavioral Health is aiding us with appropriate representation on our forced medication panel hearings, and we're continuing our efforts to recruit psychiatric medical providers. And we're also happy to report that we've retained the services of Mobile Vision Professionals Eyewear, which gives us access to an optometrist, Dr. Doug Hassenflug. And Dr. Hassenflug has been making periodic visits to the state, and he'll go to each facility, and he's seen an average of 100 patients a day when he is present. That will have our backlog for optometry cases clear by August. Very important, because that was a deficiency that we needed to address to avoid litigation issues. In mental health, for the first time, we're happy to report that probably in about 5 years, we have a staff person assigned to each facility for mental health. We still have some staffing challenges there, which we're continuing to work on. And we're also happy to report that the department has successfully expanded their access to medications of opioid use disorder, MOUD meds. We've also created a dashboard for data, which makes it more clear and provides some transparency. And we are implementing the Women's Risk Need Assessment, which we hope to replace the NRAS, the Nevada Risk Assessment System, just for the female population, because it is gender sensitive and still trauma informed. And we're having conversations with the Department of Probation and Parole, and hopefully they will join and fall in line with implementing the WRNA. We do still face some challenges there. We would benefit from some changes in the minimum qualifications for the Substance Abuse Counselor 3 position, because that will match the NAC, and it will increase our pool to recruit from. That will help us with some of those staffing challenges for substance use. And that concludes my report, sir.
We have any member questions for Dr. Williams?
No.
Looks like no. Cisco?
No, I'm
Thank you,
good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's move on to agenda item number 7, administrative regulations not subject to NRS 233B process for possible action. ER 405.
Yeah, so we have 2 administrative regulations that were reviewed during audits that were recommended changes, which is why they're here. State auditing recommended changes that we need to implement. First one is AR 405, which is use of force, changing terminology because of the post certifications, changing use of force from progressive to continuum. Also, changing policy to mission. Both of those are on page 2 and 3. The other thing that was added due to post, which is police officer standards training certifications for use of force. In the original AR, it mentions that they had a section that the staff are not able to shoot to the head. The post-training certifications say that the shooting of the head is authorized in the event of imminent jeopardy. The next section was staff-involved use of force. We changed control an offender's behavior to overcome a threat and gain control of the offender. It was just a minor change. The other thing was added to the departments, which was not in here before, was the use of approved electronic control devices, which are tasers, which are wraps, things that are done electronically that are approved through the department through appropriate training and use approved. The next thing was when force may be used, adding that the team leader, the shift supervisor has to be the one to do the introduction to the planned use of force, to say that what the planned use of force is being done for and who authorized it on video. The next portion was added the sequence of less lethal tools. All the less lethal tools are all considered the same use of force, so it's standardized that a less than lethal tool be consistent that equal the same level of force and same application process, but on a case-by-case basis that each scenario could be different. The next section is also the same as in the section with the supervisor's responsibility, but it's the healthcare responsibility, that the name of the actual healthcare individual that cleared the potentials for use of chemical agent and less lethal tools was cleared due to with background of medical history. That has to be added as the name of the person that cleared it from healthcare. The next section was on section 40505, the less lethal force. We no longer use Nova products. So it was adding the X2 and Taser 10, which is the current trained devices that correction uses, was added and Nova taken out. The next section, the FN 303, is just the type of a non-lethal 40 millimeter device that we no longer use in the Department of Corrections, so it was removed from all the institutions and from the AR. The next section was 07, which is deleted the protocol, the FBI protocol specifications, due to that the department is now also utilizing a Glock 22. The Glock 17 was the only authorized sidearm for use, duty weapon. It was just added in there, the Glock 22, which is added in as a second one. 405.12, reporting a use of force. It just added that the exceptions to the requirement that staff are required to submit their use of force prior to leaving the end of the shift or before going home, added in the section unless approved by a supervisor. The next section under 13, use of force incident reviews. 13 and 14 are the same. It's just what we considered as minor and major use of forces. Both of them are giving their formal reviews that have to be in person by the individual that was involved in the use of force, and giving that individual 48 hours before an actual hearing, notice of 48 hours prior to a hearing, reviewing the use of force. Under the 14, all the major use of forces refer to the Inspector General's office for further review and potential criminal investigation. That's all I have, and it was also a change for just formatting, but that's all I have for today. 405. There's no questions on 405. The next one.
I do, actually.
Yep.
Sure, yeah. I think it's important to speak to 40503. I think it's 3 now, about the duty to intervene. Maybe you can just summarize out loud what the changes to the duty to intervene are. Page 5, I think. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the red line.
The red line one.
Yeah.
Page 6.
Page 5 of the
Five.
link.
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Maybe you can summarize the change to the duty to intervene provision here for 503 sub 3.
So that, yes, all right, so we're looking at the same copy, the supervisor that has used, that they believe was unjustified use of force. All those incidents under review of the associate warden and the panel at the facility can no longer be completed at the facility. They have to be submitted to the Inspector General's office.
I'm sorry, that's different than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the force of use, stating the force use shall be proportionate to the threat exhibited by the offender, and the force shall decrease as the threat is lessened. It says here that any staff, regardless of rank, witnessing a use of force that is either clearly beyond excessive or unnecessary, has a duty to immediately intervene and report their observations to the shift supervisor both verbally and subsequent to the incident as a written report.
Yeah, this was actually a bill that went to through the NRS, and it's actually anybody that's a witness is still considered as part of the use of force. So even if you're a witness, if you do not report a use of force, you can be held liable for the use of force as well. So if you do not stop the use of force or intervene, you can also be held liable on the use of force up to including criminal charges.
Yeah, I just think it's important for the folks to know that the policy has a duty to intervene, that if someone sees, if a correction officer sees another correction officer improperly utilizing force, they have to intervene. And if they don't, that there are consequences, whether you're a supervisor or otherwise. And I think that's important to note.
Great. Thank you.
Anything else for you, Dennis?
No, sir.
So the next administrative regulation was also picked up by recommendations from an audit of changes. This is AR 711, which is offender personal property. First one was just the number of keys and key control. It was just limiting and having availability of keys for the property room so that it's under stricter control. That was added on page 2. The next thing was the key boxes, emergency key boxes for property rooms, whether it's a fire, or whether it's emergency access or on off shifts. The key boxes, instead of using glass, was added to have seals instead of glass. It was easier for repair and for accountability. So there's some boxes that are able to have seals. It's just saying that they can have both. The next one, the Foot Locker storage. Because of again, an NRS change about the amount 3 cubic foot of property only allowed in the cell due to fire codes. Some cells were given property bags or laundry bags that are exactly 3 cubic foot for a commissary to be able to keep those commissary under 3 cubic feet in their cells. So it just gives authorization to use other avenues rather than just foot lockers. Religious property, we had changes in administrative regulation 810 some time ago that affected property. These were items left for religious reasons. We just added it to this section to correlate to AR 810 to be able to have in both administrative regulations. The other thing that was added was there's certain court and legal documentations that are prohibited in the cell. They are pre-sentencing investigations and judgments of convictions that we believe could be detrimental to the safety and security of the offender. Those documents list a lot of the history and personal information about them and their families that we do not want other offenders gaining access to and utilizing for either extortion or threats or detriment to their safety and life safety. The next one was on page 5 was damage to property. Anytime there's damage to property, we have a new form now, DOC 1777, which was added to this administrative regulation to note the type of damage and the cost. The next one, anytime warranties Anytime an offender submits warranties now for items that they purchased in commissary, whether TV or MP3 players, which we don't purchase anymore, but there's still some warranties on the ones that are out there. They have to provide proof of purchase before submitting for the warranty. The next thing was a resolution of grievances. Anytime an offender resolves a grievance with the facility or the agency, they have to sign a new document, DOC 3027 now, to show that they voluntarily agree to resolve the grievance. That's all I have in just matter format.
Any member questions on AR 711?
Nope, not for me.
This is an action item, so if there are no questions. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
For both? Want to take them together?
Yep.
Okay. I move to approve AR 405 and AR 711.
All right, we have a motion for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. All right, we move on to agenda item number 8, which is the second opportunity for public comment for any matter that is within the jurisdictions of this public body. No action may be taken upon a matter raised during this public comment period. We will put a time limit of 3 minutes. Do we have any public comment there in Carson City?
Good afternoon, Governor. There is nobody in Carson City.
Come forward, man.
Like to speak.
Go ahead. Just identify yourself, please.
I'm here by myself. Yes, thank you.
No, identify yourself.
Oh, Darlene Anderson.
Thank you.
And I happen to serve on the chair of the District Advisory Committee for Title I and Compensatory Services in Sacramento, California for more than 4 years. I served on the CAC committee, which was special education, and I also served on the Parent Advisory Committee in Sacramento. And I'm trying to understand how you educate the people here for advocacy. Because quite frankly, mental health issues are real. And just because you assume that you understand how someone would react in a negative situation, let's all understand Anthony Carmelo and what he was at the game, whatever activity he was at, but who should have been responsible for overseeing his behavior? The adults that were getting paid. He got 35 years. The number of African-American children who are in the penitentiary here is unacceptable. Failure is not an option in America. That's why we have special education. It's a purpose. My son graduated. They said he was severely mentally retarded, communication handicap, just wouldn't benefit from public education. He graduated with a one-on-one aid, a laptop, and above proficient. And he's with me now. His father recently died, and you people, well, your people here in Nevada, figured out how he wouldn't get the money from SSI, the full years. Because his daddy never paid a penny, but that's okay. Because I did have a child support order, and I'm asking for an audit on that. Because he's entitled for the number of years that he didn't pay child support, the number he was on SSI. But the amazing thing that I've learned in America is that I was working for Los Rios Community College. In 1994, they said I had an injury, workers' comp injury. They just never did the work. And you have to understand, if the people who are getting paid don't do the work, it doesn't happen. So here in Nevada, when we have so many needs of the people need to be trained. They have a right to know that they have a right to what's free and appropriate and how you measure it and who's actually participating in the legal assurances of free and appropriate, because it doesn't happen here. And I promise you, I know it doesn't happen. But I understand what's happening as I was paying my $654 power bill last year. This year, it went down to $176 because I got wise. Why are there no air vents in those little portable metal boxes? No fresh air coming in or out. It's problematic. When you raise the question, people say, well, it wasn't my job. I wasn't there then. Well, guess what? Neither was the judge that's over my case in Sacramento. He wasn't even a judge in 1994. but I was living and I was working and I have a right to health care. And promise you, I will get it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me share. And I hope that I can find some people who are more like Anna Binder so I can train them too. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Angelina Garcia. I'm the only surviving sibling of John Anthony Garcia, the young man who hung himself on May 8th, 2026, after being hospitalized for an alleged aspirin overdose, an intentional one. My brother was only held at Centennial Hills Hospital for 2 days, and I'm aware of this because I have his hospital records, and I'm sure whatever a member of the NDOC employees. Sorry, it's very emotional for me. My brother's been dead, less than 2 months. I've tried to contact NDOC about my brother's property and was asked to provide an affidavit next of kin. And I wonder how you expect families to write their own forms when we are not trained as lawyers. I've contacted NDOC, and when I hired a firm, the press release about my brother was deleted, which is kind of offensive. You guys bothered to say that he was facing 11 years when he had Tony Abatangelo as an attorney. My brother was trying so hard to get out of High Desert, and I want to know why he was originally placed in Gen Pop when it is known that the Mexican population is against elderly charges, and why my brother had to call me off of his cellie's number because he was so in fear for his life originally. This is when he originally got to High Desert last May. And I really just want to know what went so wrong within your guys' facilities that a 21-year-old man who planned to have kids with his girlfriend of 8 years, my only sibling who graduated and worked since he was 17, he graduated early and he worked so hard, and all he wanted to do was get paroled. My brother wasn't up there getting in trouble. Your facilities gave him write-ups because it wasn't fair for his life, and he's gone now. And I really just would want to know why you people allow the correctional officers to treat people like that. Do you know how hard it is to hear my parents, who didn't even raise me, call me every day crying? Do you know how it feels to be bit up by ants because your only brother is dead? I just want you guys to provide more mental health care. My boyfriend sitting there in the back has also been to High Desert and can attest to the horrible treatment given there. I have been told that the inmates are being withheld showers. This is not acceptable. Our family has been here for generations. I graduated from Chaparral High School with a 29 out of 36. I had mental health problems too. I dropped out 8th, 9th, 10th grade, and I still went back only because of drug court and managed to graduate on time. And I just wonder why my brother was denied the same access to mental health care to have a chance at life, to still be here.
You've reached 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Anybody else wish to provide public comment? Come forward, ma'am.
My name is Maria Munoz. I have a loved one.
Sorry, yeah, what was the last name?
Munoz.
Munoz?
He's an offender for the second time, and I've been listening to the comments, that they've been talking. Yes. My question here is, when our loved ones go in front of the judge, everybody talks about how bad they are. They have addictions, they have a problem with alcohol, that they're a threat to the rest of the people or the population. However, when they get there, no help. My son has a drinking problem. Yes, I accept it. No one has ever come, not a social worker, not a case worker. Time is going. And I remember back in the day when you were running for governor, some of the things that you were trying to change that were wanting to be different. I just want to say thank you for the time, but I really hope that you can help us for whatever time you have reminding as a governor or the position that you have. Please, when you have a time, as a parent, go back to your house and sit down. Put yourself on this side and think, if you would be in our shoes, what would you love for the system to change?
Thank you.
So my name is Patricia Atkinson still. My comments relate to the unilateral policy and practices imposed at Southern Desert Correctional Center that work to regulate bodily functions in excess of the executive police powers, denying access to the restroom when overcome by biological demands, causing people to literally urinate themselves in the visiting room, most recently May 30th, and consequently causing an unusual hardship and trauma on both the affected visitors and offenders alike. Standing alone, this bad practice is enough to trigger a corrective action by this board. The police power does not extend to biological functions. When a citizen needs to use the restroom, that determination is not subject to a policy. It is a function of nature, which is outside the executive power. But when we consider the admission by one of the visiting room officers made to us that she attempts to weaponize the administrative regulations, this board must take a closer look at the culture. It is our belief and understanding in connection with visits, the culture to weaponize regulations is an attempt to chill our visiting rights. The policy to conduct repeated searches at each regulated bathroom break is in excess of the consent to search for the purposes of entry and serves no legitimate peniological purpose. No other prison in Nevada performs multiple searches or schedules bathroom breaks. Visitors do not gain access to the visiting room without first being subject to a search. The described policy to conduct a search each time a citizen uses the restroom is simply an effort to justify the denial of the use of the restroom unless and until staff can perform the described excessive unauthorized search. This practice suggests that visitors come to prison and undergo a search in order to gain entry and then somehow receive contraband or drugs only after arriving in the visiting room. In summary, the described unilateral policies at Southern Desert Correctional Center work to chill our visiting rights and privilege, where each regulated bathroom break involving additional searches compels every visitor who needs to use the restroom to stand in long lines, taking 30 to 45 minutes each bathroom break, effectively reducing our visiting time as our loved ones sit at the table alone. Our effort is to address this as the prison staff has not produced any results. It is now time for the board to step in. We need access to the restroom when nature demands, and no multiple searches are contemplated by the consent to search for purposes of entry. And then I just have one more little thing to say. It's as far as the mail goes, public records requests, will those also be treated like legal mail since they're coming from a government agency? So like if they need a public record to go with case files or something for judgment, is this going to are they going to be able to get public records? So if they request a public record from an agency, government agency, will they be getting it like they would be getting it if it was legal mail? Or is it going to go through this process where they're going to get it on their tablet, where then they're not going to have a piece of paper to add to? So I just want to think about that. So, thank you so much.
Anybody else here in Las Vegas? All right, we will close the second opportunity for public comment and move for adjournment.
So moved.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Let's go. Let's make